Okay, so hello and welcome everyone. My name is Michael Gallagher. I'm here from Engineers Ireland, and this is starting your career as a global structural engineer. So there's loads of opportunities in Ireland at the moment if you are in structural engineering. And yet this webinar and recording is here to talk to you a bit about it. Just before I hand it over to some of our speakers, just going to cover briefly Engineers Ireland. This is the professional body for engineers from all disciplines. So there's like loads of engineers here from all over Ireland who are part of us, and look, it's 25,000 members strong, so it's a really huge organisation that's committed to the personal and professional development of engineers in Ireland. Just to say that sometimes the reasons that people join is the fact that there might be a mutual recognition agreement with their equivalent organisation back in their home country. They might want to apply for a professional title like Chartered Engineer, or they want to continuously professionally develop themselves, or CPD, kind of build up their CPDRs and just keep working on that. Other reasons that they do get involved is they want to stay up to the latest with what's going on in the engineering industry. Like, for example, we just published our salary survey, which just came out in the last week, so you can see what kind of salary you can expect. All you need to do is log into your membership profile and download that. So look, there's loads of reasons why you might become a member of Engineers Ireland. If you want to join, it's really easy. Just go on our website, engineersireland.ie, click join now. You verify your engineering qualification. That's very strict. We need to know that you are indeed an engineer, and we need to see the original copy of qualification, or there's ways of doing that online now. It's €280 to join, and look, that's how you become a member of Engineers Ireland. When you do join, you can get involved with loads of different regions. Like one of our speakers tonight from the recruitment consultancy is actually located down in Cork, and they're like kind of spread out all over Ireland. So look, there's really some great opportunities all over Ireland whenever you do join and move to Ireland. Whatever you do happen to work in, there's loads of different divisions. For our structural engineers, there's a structures and construction division. There's also a civil division. So look, there's loads of opportunities to kind of get involved with and continue your professional development. There's also societies. So look, if you're young, you can get involved with the Young Engineer Society. We have a project management society. They're big into the PMP and all the associated qualifications. And just to say, there's something for everyone in Engineers Ireland. You can even get involved with our STEPS program, which, just to give it a plug, is coming up with Engineers Week, which is going to be in early March. This is all about kind of encouraging the next generation of engineers, and particularly young women. Engineers Journal is our kind of specialist publication, which is on our website. When you're a member, you can log in, you can read all the different articles that are there. Again, I mentioned these publications already, and just to say the 2022 salary survey is out now, so you can check that out once you do become a member. And just say, if you're not strictly like a structural engineer, and perhaps your qualifications in construction management or project management or something else, there are ways to join. It's a little bit more complicated, but our membership team is ready to advise you on the process, whatever it might be. So yeah, just to say, we have loads of different professional titles, like whether it's a chartered engineer, the associate engineer, or engineering technician. Whatever your level, your qualification you're at, there is a professional title that you will be able to apply for. And that's everything I wanted to say. That's my kind of quick whistle-stop tour of Engineers Ireland. And before I hand it over to our first speaker of the evening, which is going to be Lisa from Morgan McKinley. So Lisa, if you want to just come to the screen, hopefully, yeah, I can see you and you're unmuted.
So my name is Lisa Kiley. I'm the team lead of the Construction and Property Division in Morgan McKinley Recruitment. We have a team of 6 at the moment. We cover a nationwide remit across Ireland, and we are also at the moment working towards placing with companies in Europe as well. So, sorry, no, this is after jamming on me. Sorry. Okay. So we're the largest supplier of professional staff in Ireland. We have 17 offices in 9 countries, including 5 in Ireland. We work across 12 specialist areas, and that covers perm and contract recruitment. And we do some executive search as well. And we've over 300 employees, recruitment staff in Ireland, and 2,300 contract staff on site. So just to give a quick kind of a broader overview of the market at the moment. So Ireland is currently experiencing a profound shortage of skilled construction workers, with only 6% of the national workforce working in the construction industry. It's down from 12% during the Celtic Tiger days, and is significantly lower than the current European average of 8%. The lack of supply means there's going to be a further salary inflation of up to 10% for permanent salaries that we foresee coming through in 2022. And structural engineers, QSs, project engineers and programme managers. And there's also substantial ongoing investment in construction projects across all sectors in Ireland. There's a huge amount of public money being invested in massive upgrades across the transport and utility infrastructure side of things. And in the latter half of 2021, the Housing for All plan was announced, with a pledge to deliver 312,750 new homes between now and the end of 2030. And as a knock-on kind of result of that, modular construction is something that we've seen become hugely popular in the last couple of months, with people looking to explore that and companies coming to us looking to hire skilled workers into that remit. As a result, I suppose we're seeing a huge amount of data centre construction going on as well at the moment. So obviously with the increase in the data centres, there's need for more electricity. So currently the data centres are consuming up to 20% of our national energy output, and it's forecast to increase 30% by 2030. There are now 70 operational data centres, with many more planned for the near future, and it's going to result in Ireland being the biggest data centre hub in Europe. As a result, we're going to struggle to meet this demand for power over the next 10 years, and it has driven huge investment into renewable energy projects across the country. So that has, I suppose, feeds into the offshore and onshore and solar side of things. The onshore, offshore and solar farms are being built in every corner of the country. There's huge plans for offshore wind farms sectors over the next decade, with the government under pressure to meet the international carbon neutral targets. The Climate Action Plan for 2019 states that 70% of electricity will be generated from renewable sources by 2030. So at the moment we can operate with the grid being up to 65% renewable power, but by 2030 it has to increase to 95%. There's currently 53 in operation in Ireland, with 8 more in the process of being built and planning permission for a further 20. So as a result, I suppose we're seeing a shortage of the workforce here, and an increase in the looking for skilled workforce outside of Ireland. The visa options, I suppose, that we are most commonly asked for by our clients are the Stamp 1G and the Stamp 4 visas. Obviously, once you have your Stamp 1G and you're working, you can apply for your critical skills visa. If you have an offer of employment, you can apply for your critical skills visa, or you can obviously have your Stamp 4 visa. We find that they're the main ones that employers are looking at, and they're the most popular ones for people that are sending their CVs to us looking for work. So I suppose just going to chat a bit around the recruitment sector in Ireland, the different ways that it can work and how to get yourself out there. So when somebody sends their CV into us, we obviously review the CV. We also have a follow-up look at their LinkedIn profiles and how that's going to look to a prospective employer for them. There's 11 key pieces on LinkedIn, which we kind of advise everybody to take a look at and make sure that they're utilising. So the photo, your headline, your summary, make sure you have your courses and languages in there. You know, it's not a CV, so you don't have to have everything on it, but you don't have your keywords, your work experience, your connections, and any endorsements and recommendations is really good as well. So just make sure you upload an appropriate photo. Profiles with no photos get 14 times less views. Make sure it's alone, professionally dressed, facing forward. And look, it's always good to recommend that LinkedIn is not Facebook. So just make sure that everything that you're putting up on LinkedIn is professionally appropriate. This is an ideal profile. We always use this profile of Ricardo. He's a member of Engineers Ireland, and he has his photo, which is good and professional, and then he has his qualification details, that he's an EU citizen, and then where he's working. So it's a good quick snapshot at the start of each LinkedIn profile. Keep your heading kind of short and sweet and informative. Keep it memorable and just get it straight to the point. So graduates seeking a science position to begin a career in, or graduate working for a leading biotech company. It's a good idea to go out and look at other profiles of co-workers or people that are currently working in the companies that you would like to work in, and see how their LinkedIn profiles are presented. Just be smart about your experience then. So list the jobs that you've held and a brief description of what you were responsible for. You can choose to make it either more or less detailed than your CV, ideally probably less so, and think broadly about your experience, and be sure to include any volunteer activities, any out of work experience that you would have. It would always be beneficial, and you'd also find it's a good way of building rapport as well between yourselves and a hiring manager, for instance, when it gets to interview stage. If you're a graduate or if you're new to the industry and you don't have a lot of experience, don't worry. If there is a prize or recognition that you can put in under your honours and awards, oftentimes your final year project, if you have details of that, it's always going to be really helpful. List any classes, languages or certifications, and build a strong network and use LinkedIn and utilize it, and don't be afraid to utilize it. It's a great way to build your network and get started. Just with your CV then, so this is a snapshot of a CV that we would say is, the ideal. So no picture on a CV. You have your name, address, and your contact details on the top. You have your personalized statement or your personal summary. Have your education next, because oftentimes if you're applying for roles and companies have a requirement that you are degree qualified or trade qualified, that you would have all that information at the top of the CV. Then you have your professional experience underneath that. So your current job title, the current company, and the dates. So they're the two fundamentals that will help you with a winning CV. So your content and how it's presented. So under the content, as I said, you have your profile. Under each job, make sure you have the month and the year with your dates, and include a summary of your responsibilities and achievements under each role. Keep it simple and factual. Include a work appropriate email. Include your right to work status. Don't lie, and don't write in the first or third person. And just with the presentation, keep it simple. So your fonts and your typeface, use Arial, use size 10, size 12, but simplicity is the key. Fancy backgrounds, passport photos, pictures and graphics, they can be difficult to read for a hiring manager. If you're applying to a multinational company that the first protocol with the CV is a tracking system, it can interfere with that if you don't, the fancy backgrounds and the pictures and the graphics, they can interfere with how that's going to be uploaded onto the system. We always say send your CV in a Word document to a recruitment agency, because we'll oftentimes be adding it to our own headed paper. But if you're sending it directly to a company, PDF it. Headers and footers are not essential. We tend to recommend that you don't use them, and minimize the use of tables. Again, for the same reasons, they can be difficult for us to transfer across, and they can not transfer properly to online upload portals. For instance, if companies are using portals to store their information and their CVs, and just always check your spelling and make sure your spelling is right. The next piece, so you've your LinkedIn profile done, you've your CV done really well, and it gets you to an interview stage. And the key thing about an interview is be prepared, do your research, and take it seriously. You know, we take it seriously in Morgan McKinley. We spend a half an hour prepping all our candidates for each interview that they're going to go for. And it helps us to kind of bridge the gap between the employer and the CV. You know, it's a chance to sell yourself. So be confident and assertive about discussing your experience. Highlight what experience is relevant to the position you're interviewing for and show that you want the job. Have your research done. Understand the job description. So understand the job you're applying for. Know your CV and research the company. You should never have a copy of your CV with you or reading your CV from a screen. Read through your job description line by line. Be fluent and clear. Your examples ready as well are done in the STAR format. So the situation, task, action, result is how you should answer all your questions. And prepare your relevant questions. So stand over every statement in your CV. So you have your questions prepared, everything that you say to the employer in an interview that you can stand over and back up with a relevant example. So with the STAR technique, if you answer all your questions with the STAR technique, you're going to get across all the relevant information that you want. So the situation, what the situation was, the task, you know, how you were going to action it and how you got to the end result. So the STAR format is a job interview technique and it's used by interviewers to gather all the information. So look, you can Google the STAR technique anyway, it's there for everybody to, you know, online, but it's just a handy one for you to know and have in the back of your head at all times. So when you're going for an interview, be punctual, know the date and time and exact location. There's always going to be glitches with online interviews. It's always going to be the case. So just make sure that you can log in and that you've used the type of online interview that it is. So whether that be Zoom, Teams, or Google Hangout, you know, we'll be able to help you anyway with all of that. We would always say to a face-to-face interview, be 10 minutes early. But for an online interview, maybe 5 minutes is enough. Know who you're meeting, have their job title, have the phone number in case you're stuck. You know, make sure link in with your recruiter if you're stuck. Dress code is always business formal. I think with online interviews, the feedback we get from companies is that candidates don't take them seriously. So, you know, just make sure that you're dressed appropriately, you're well groomed, switch off your phone. Maintaining eye contact can be difficult in online interviews, but just make sure that you're addressing each interviewer that's there and not just one, and be aware of your body language. So that's it from me. I think we'll probably keep any questions until the end, but that's that, Michal, I'm gone.
Yeah, Lisa, that just while Grace and Stephanie are getting their presentation up and ready, to say that was absolutely fantastic. And look, I'm always so grateful to yourself and just to everyone in Morgan McKinley for being so generous with your time, to our global engineers in terms of helping them get ready for their career. So look, thank you so much, Lisa, and looking forward to some Q&A at the end. But Grace and Stephanie, if you are ready to start sharing your screen now, I'm happy to hand it over.
Thanks, Michal. Thank you. And my name's Steph. It's okay if no one can spell or pronounce my surname, hence why it's written there, but everyone can just call me Steph. And joining me today is Grace, who's one of our regional HR partners within Cairn Homes. And Grace and I are both essentially quite new into Cairn. I've been with Cairn about 18 months. And Grace, yourself?
6 months is all.
6 months, okay.
Yeah.
So fresh off the press, you're getting us both. But we're delighted to be invited into this session into Engineers Island and to speak to each and every one of you on this call. So our purpose, so who is Cairn Homes? And Cairn is one of the largest construction developers in Ireland. We build homes and we create places where people love to live. And in reality, when I think about my last 18 months in the organisation, it's not just something that's written on papers or plastered on posters on walls. It really is something that people at all levels, our site staff, our subcontractors, our suppliers, our leadership team, our people managers, our back office staff, and even our reception staff, everyone really does believe in this because they recognise that part of the wonderful world of construction and engineering is that every single decision, every single thing that we do every single day actually can change someone's life. So when we think about the communities that we drive through, the development that we're walking, that we might walk past every single day, every single one of us in construction have played a part in that. And that is something that I'm really, really enjoying about working in construction. When we think about our vision and mission, I know that a lot of organizations kind of have very, very similar kind of, visions and missions and strategy documents. But one of the really interesting things about Cairn is that the safety piece is always going to play a part, and that's something that's quite central to our organization. And our mission is more around the communities that we want to build. So we aim to build in great locations, but we want to make sure that the people that are living in those places don't feel isolated. So we're really focusing on the Home Together initiative. If you want to find out more about that, you can jump onto our Cairn website, which we'll show you later on one of the slides. But it really is a great initiative so we don't just walk away once the development's done. We really do focus on that continuity of making sure everyone feels like they're at home together in that community. And the values that we really do pride ourselves on when we think about the way in which we operate with our customers, with our suppliers, with each other. So the way in which Grace and I work together, we're very much about being honest and straight talking. We're always very transparent with one another. We're quite collaborative. We're very team based. And we know that we all have day jobs to do. We're committed, and we have commercial kind of outcomes to achieve. But the great thing about it is that we are always looking for new ideas and new ways of doing things. And that's one of the things that I really do enjoy about Cairn, which is no matter what the idea is or where it comes from, there's always going to be someone that goes, tell me more about that. And that if that's something that you really enjoy doing, then Cairn definitely is a place for you to at least consider. I won't go through too much of this because I feel like this is a lot of information for anyone. But when you think about our journey from 2016 all the way through to now into 2022, you can really see that the home completions have really really doubled, tripled kind of each year. And 2020, I think everybody on this call is very aware of what happened there. COVID definitely put a spanner in the works into most industries, if not all. And it really did impact us. But what we're seeing now coming out of that pandemic is that we do have a significant land bank, a significant number of new sites coming on board. You can see that we've got 20 active sites with up to 10 new sites coming in the next 12 months. And with that comes a really exciting opportunity around employee career development, around the existing stuff we have, really taking people. We've got examples of graduates that have interns progressed into graduate programs, graduates progressing into kind of, engineering roles, health and safety roles, QS roles, and actually going into quite senior positions into our organization. So we really do live that value of building from within. And it's a little bit of a tongue in cheek. I thought I can't work in construction and not use the term build from within. It's a nice tongue in cheek kind of mentality. But where is the opportunity? The opportunity essentially is we've grown by 100 new joiners in the last 12 months. It's a significant growth phase. And in the next 12 to 18 months, we'll do the exact same growth again. So we're just over kind of 3,000 employees, including our active sites and our subcontractors. And we're looking to increase that in terms of our direct employees by 100, and our supply chain will then need to follow suit. And we are, as I mentioned, we are the largest self-build apartment developer in Ireland. And we work with a lot of kind of institutional investors as well. So it's not just around individual homes, individual apartments and units. It is also around the communities that we're building, and even considering, we're building a community. Do we need a supermarket? What kind of support network are we offering and facilities to the people that are going to be living there? So that's something that we're really excited about to expand into. Here's just a visual example of some of the housing sites in areas of demand, and that's something that Cairn's really, our kind of corporate development, our finance team, our commercial team really do listen to our customers' feedback that we ask for after every customer moves into the home. We ask them for feedback over an ongoing period of time, and the feedback that we get is always very, very positive. And we usually get feedback like, my family is looking for a place in here, why don't you have a development there? And that's just a really interesting piece of feedback that we get. So we're constantly getting that feedback loop from our customers to really understand where the demand is. And I think every single person on this call can agree that the housing crisis is nationwide. It's not just in GDA and Greater Dublin area. And you can see that these are just some examples of the main developments we have right now. Areas that are in blue, the red is areas that we're looking to grow into. But again, there's a lot of sneak preview things behind the curtain that I can't show you that are coming obviously across Ireland. So if GDA is not just where you're looking for, if you're looking to go into another area, then ask the question. as to you know, nothing's off the table is kind of the message. So what's actually important to Cairn? I think a lot of people ask the question in interviews with Grace and myself or anyone else in the team, you know, what's it really like to work at Cairn? And I mean, we can give you the corporate tagline, but in reality, that's not going to help anybody. When we think about what's actually important to us, health and well-being, innovation and sustainability and safety are really key. You know, we have a significantly sized health and safety function that's on site on a day-to-day basis, supporting and driving health and safety across all different elements. Innovation and sustainability is really key to us. You know, hearing from Lisa earlier around the innovations in construction, you know, doing things, you know, more sustainably, really thinking about the impact on our environment. And it doesn't just stop there. It's about an innovative and sustainable business model as well, and all the different ways in, you know, all the different ways in which we are supporting the sites, the number of sites. We are innovating from a back office point of view as well. But health and well-being is key. You know, I think if we learned anything from the pandemic, it's that your health and well-being, if you don't have health and well-being, you have nothing. And that's the organizational health and well-being and the individual, the employee's health and well-being. And there's been a significant investment over the last couple of years in health and well-being with our industry partner Spectrum Life, VHI, and a significant investment into equality, diversity and inclusion. And as we know, construction is very male dominated in general. So it's something that we're very passionate about, giving back into the community, going into schools and really encouraging young women or even mature women to perhaps change careers and consider a career in construction, because it is a great environment to work in, is a great place to work, and there's a lot of stereotypes that don't necessarily ring true anymore. So that's something that we're really passionate about, contributing to the industry in that way. So hopefully I've been able to give you a bit of a view on who we are and what we do and what it's like to work for us. What I am going to do though is I'm going to hand over to Grace.
Thank you, Steph. Hi everyone. Steph introduced me at the start of our presentation. So my name is Grace and I'm a HR partner here in Cairn. So I partner with construction and commercial employees in our business. I'm also heavily involved in the recruitment process, attending interviews and that selection piece as well. So if you were to come on board and join Cairn Homes, I'm just going to go through kind of our offerings. So over on the right hand side of the screen, you can see that we are Great Place to Work certified in 2021. So, you know, overwhelmingly, our employees voted that we were a great place to work in 2021, and we hope to keep that going as the years go on. Our EVP in Cairn is Inspire, Develop and Connect. So within Cairn, we want to inspire you to get involved in building Ireland's futures, houses and apartments for people to live in. We want to develop your career, and we want you to help you work on innovative local Irish projects. And we want to connect you with like-minded people and turn colleagues in Cairn into friends. In terms of what we can offer you and what we currently offer our employees with us, we're a very social company. We offer team events, so site team events. We do a lot of charity events with our charity partners. We have different parties and get-togethers that happen every year. The two main ones being our kickoff party, which happens in January every year. It's like our big Christmas party. And we also host summer barbecues as well. In terms of kind of our remuneration and benefits package that we offer our employees, we are quite competitive in our salaries. So we offer competitive base salaries. We offer all our employees performance related bonuses. We contribute to our employees' pension. We have life assurance policies and income protection policies. We have a great health and wellbeing programme through Spectrum Life. We offer our employees a healthcare subsidy. We have cycle to work schemes, tax saver schemes, and so much more that we offer in terms of our benefits. We also, as Steph alluded to, we're growing kind of exponentially. We have done in the past year and we will continue to do so. So we're really trying to drive that development within the company. So people that are in the company, how do we utilize their skills and develop them to grow into kind of more management roles? So if you were successful and received a job in Cairn, you know, we would offer you a challenging and rewarding work environment. You would experience a residential project from inception to completion. So from, you know, the groundwork stage right through to the handover of the project. On our sites, we would typically have high and low density elements to our sites. So you might have a primarily high density sites with apartment blocks, but there may be an element of houses or duplexes on that. Likewise with our low density projects, so our housing developments and our duplexes, you may have a couple of kind of lower scale apartment blocks on those too. So you will get exposure to both high and low density projects in Cairn. We offer on-the-job learning and support, and we also offer money towards professional qualifications and professional subscriptions. So if you were looking to do a course or training that had something to do with your field, Cairn would absolutely back you and would provide funding towards that. So we can go on, Steph. Perfect. So the opportunities that we have for engineers in Cairn are on your screen. We have opportunities, you know, from grad level right the way through to management positions. We look for setting out engineers who kind of set out for our subcontractors. We look for civil engineers who work on kind of groundworks, roads, things like that, as well as structural engineers. Our senior engineers are they kind of work more with senior management on the handover of projects and also kind of look after the more junior engineers on site. We also have building services engineers. So our building services engineers would typically work on the high density projects, and they would look after the mechanical and electrical aspects of those projects. And we also have design engineers as well. So we have vacancies in all these we have openings in all these kind of vacancies, and we'll give you a link to the careers website at the end of this presentation if you want to move on, Steph. So in terms of our opportunities and in those roles that I just spoke about, so our multiple projects across the Greater Dublin area will offer ambitious people the opportunity to assume new challenges and increase their scope of responsibility. So what we typically look for in candidates is work experience, depending on the level that you're coming in at. If you're coming in at a grad level, we don't expect that you will have a great amount of engineering experience. We look for a HETAC level A engineering qualification or equivalent, whatever that might be in different countries. We look for candidates that have an ability to achieve demanding time and quality targets. We're very big on quality in Cairn, and the quality of our project is second to none in the market. We look for good spoken and written communication skills. We look for people who are methodical with good attention to detail and accuracy. You will be a member of a bigger site team, which, you know, will have quantity surveyors, health and safety, foremen and project managers on that team. So we look for someone who has team focus and is willing to work as part of a team. And we also look for people who are self-motivated with the ability to work on their own initiative. In terms of the interview process that we bring people through, we typically will perform 1 to 2 interviews depending on the role. So if it's a more senior role, there may be 2 interviews. If it's a more junior to intermediate role, it might just be 1 interview. Typically, you will have someone in HR on the interview, like myself, and you will also have the hiring manager on the interview. We do facilitate online and in-person interviews. We do like to get people on site to interview, just to show them our product, to show them our welfare facilities and things like that. So then in terms of the process and to offer to onboard, we do the interview process, whether that be 1 or 2 interviews. We issue our prospective employees with an offer letter. We then do a reference check. The contract is issued, and then we bring our employees through the onboarding process when they start. And then just to say as well, we do provide support for those who require work permits if you came on board with Cairn. So this is the link to our careers page on our website. We do have several engineering vacancies live. There's building services on there, site engineers, senior engineers. So do go on and have a look. Our email address is careers@cairnhomes.com. If you are having issues applying or have any questions, you can send us an email through that email address there. And we have quick links there to our socials pages as well, if you want to take a look at that. So we also welcome any questions if anybody does have any.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Another incredible presentation, of which I am very, very grateful. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to formally thank both our presenters, or rather all 3 presenters. I'm going to stop the recording, and